All right, let's dive in. Today we are exploring AI image generation, and we've got this fascinating document called Midjourney and DLEE, The Evolution of AI Image Generation to guide us. It's incredible to think we can create art with algorithms and data now.
Yeah, it's really mind-blowing how fast this field is changing. I mean, think about it. We've gone from AI just trying to copy artists to AI creating photorealistic images from like a simple text prompt.
It is wild. So, how did we get here? How did we go from basic AI recognizing patterns to AI creating fantastical creatures and like dreamlike landscapes?
The real game changer was GANs, Generative Adversarial Network.
GANs?
Yeah. Imagine two AIs.
Mm-hmm.
One's like an artist trying to make a masterpiece, and the other's an art critic, always trying to find the flaws. They basically learn from each other, pushing each other to improve. That's how they learn to create these really realistic images.
So it's like an artistic rivalry.
Exactly, a constant back and forth.
But how do these GANs understand what we want when we type in a prompt?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. These AIs are trained on these huge data sets of images and text, right? They learn to connect words with visuals, understanding how ideas and aesthetics relate. So when you type in something crazy like a cat wearing a top hat riding a bicycle, the AI can actually use all that knowledge to create an image that matches that description.
So it's like a super visual dictionary.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the stars of the show, DLEE and Midjourney. Let's start with DLE, the one from OpenAI. What makes this one stand out?
Well, with DLA, you can create incredibly detailed and sometimes really surreal images from almost any description you can imagine, like need a logo. Just give DLE some keywords about your brand, and boom, it generates a bunch of options for you.
That's amazing, like having an on-demand design team. You said surreal, though. What kind of wild stuff can it create?
Well, the name itself is a hint, right? DAE, it's a mashup of Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, and Wall-E, the robot from that Pixar movie. So, you can expect some really unique artistic and techie stuff. You could ask for a melting clock made of cheese or a cat riding a unicorn through a rainbow field. DAE can handle it.
Wow, that's awesome. And haven't they released a few versions of DALL-E already?
Yeah, they keep improving it. You've got versions 1, 2, and now 3, and each one gets more realistic and gives you more control over editing. Imagine changing the lighting, swapping objects, even changing the whole art style just by typing in a few commands.
It's like having Photoshop built right into the AI.
Exactly.
So DLE sounds like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
What about Midjourney? How does it stack up?
Now, Midjourney is different. It mainly runs through a Discord server.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's led to this huge, vibrant community where people share their creations, work together on projects, and even learn from each other. It's like a global art jam session powered by AI happening all the time.
I love that. It's not just about the tech, it's about the community around it. But let's talk art. How does Midjourney's style compare to DL?
Well, DL is often going for that photorealism and can do a lot of different styles. Midjourney, on the other hand, leans towards this artistic, fantastical style. It's great at making those dreamlike images with really bold colors and surreal elements. If you need something for, say, a children's book or a video game concept, Midjourney's your go-to.
So DL for realism, Midjourney for imagination.
Got it. Now, are there any limits to what these AIs can create? Like, are there prompts they'd struggle with?
That's a good question. They are powerful, but they're still learning, right? They might have trouble with really abstract or conceptual things. For example, if you ask for the feeling of love or the sound of silence, it might give you something interesting, but not really capture the complexity of those ideas.
It's like asking a painter to capture a scent. Tough to translate that into an image.
Exactly. But even with those limitations, these AI tools are opening up a whole new world of creative possibilities for everyone, even if you're not a pro artist.
100%.
Yeah.
It's democratizing creativity. You
Yeah.
know, anyone with a computer can create amazing visuals.
So we've got these two amazing AI art platforms, each with its own strengths. How would you choose one for a specific project?
It all depends on what you want to achieve, really. Need something photorealistic, like for a marketing campaign or product design, DLE might be better. But for those more artistic, imaginative concepts, Midjourney could be perfect.
The right tool for the job. And who knows, maybe in the future, we'll have even more advanced AI tools that combine the best of both.
Oh, absolutely. We're just at the beginning of this whole AI art thing. It's going to be really exciting to see what comes next.
Okay, so we've got a handle on DAE and Midjourney, but it's important to acknowledge that any powerful technology has its downsides. What are some concerns people have about this rise of AI-generated art?
Well, one big concern is what it could mean for human artists. Some people worry AI might replace human creativity,
That's a valid concern. It's crucial to figure out how AI can enhance human creativity, not replace it entirely.
Yeah, exactly. I think the key is to think of AI as a tool, not a replacement. Just like cameras didn't make painters obsolete, AI art tools can actually empower artists by giving them new ways to express themselves and explore their ideas.
That's a good way to look at it. Not man versus machine, but how they can work together.
Right. But then there are also concerns about how these AI models are trained. They learn from massive amounts of images and text, right? So there's always the risk of bias creeping in. If an AI is mostly trained on images of, let's say, a certain type of person or one art style, it might struggle to create diverse and representative outputs.
That's such a critical point. It really highlights the need for responsible AI development and being aware of the ethics involved. We need those data sets to be diverse, and we need to design algorithms that are fair.
Absolutely. And the good news is people are becoming more aware of these issues and researchers are working on solutions. As this field of AI art grows, I'm optimistic that we'll see more focus on developing it responsibly and ethically.
That's reassuring. It's like with anything new, we need to be aware of the risks and figure out how to minimize them while still using the technology's awesome potential.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance.
Okay, so we've looked at the inner workings of AI image generation, explored DALI and Midjourney, and even talked about some of the potential downsides. But let's shift gears a bit. What exciting developments and trends can we expect in AI art in the coming years?
Well, one really exciting area is the push for even more realism and interactivity. Imagine AI that can create hyper-realistic images and also understand what you're thinking and adapt to your feedback live. You could basically have a conversation with the AI, guiding it to create exactly what you envision.
That would be incredible. Like having your own AI art director. What other mind-blowing advancements are on the horizon?
Well, get ready to see AI-generated imagery integrated into all sorts of fields. Think about virtual reality experiences that blur the lines between real and imagined. Video games with AI-generated characters and worlds that change based on what you do, and movies with special effects that are so real you can't tell the difference.
Wow, it sounds like we're entering a world where anything is possible. But with all that potential, we have to remember those ethical considerations we've been talking about. What can we expect in terms of ethical frameworks guiding AI image generation in the future?
I think we'll see a much stronger focus on developing AI responsibly. That means stricter rules, clearer guidelines for using data and respecting copyright, and a bigger effort to deal with issues like bias and the potential for misuse.
That's good to hear. It's important to have those safeguards in place, especially as these technologies become more powerful. But, enough about this serious stuff. Have you personally used these AI art platforms? Any funny stories or cool discoveries?
Actually, yeah, I was using Midjourney the other day, and I wanted to see what it would do with the prompt, a cat wearing a tiny cowboy hat riding a Roomba. The results.
Yeah.
Hilarious. The cat looked both super excited and totally terrified at the same time.
That's amazing. It's moments like that, those unexpected funny results, that really highlight the power of AI. Like it's a collaboration between human and machine where each brings something unique.
Totally agree. And those moments of surprise are what make it so fun to explore.
So we've talked a lot about AI image generation, but we've just scratched the surface. Before we move on, I have a thought-provoking question for you. As these AI images become more common and realistic, how do you think they'll affect how we see art, creativity, and even reality itself?
That's a big question. Here are a few things to think about. First, I think AI is going to challenge what we consider art. If anyone can make a super realistic image with a few keystrokes, will handcrafted art become even more valuable? Or will we have a whole new idea of what creativity means, one that includes both humans and AI?
And as these tools get more advanced, will we even be able to tell what's real and what's fake? Will we need new ways to check if images are authentic and make sure we're not being tricked? It's almost like we're entering a world where seeing isn't believing anymore, and that could have a huge impact on how we take in information.
You're right. We need to start thinking critically about where images come from and if they're real, especially online and in the media. We also need to talk about the potential for misuse, like creating deep fakes and spreading misinformation.
It's a responsibility we all share as we navigate this new tech world. But even with these challenges, I believe AI image generation can unlock amazing creativity and innovation in so many fields.
I agree. It's a tool that can help us explore new ideas, solve problems, and express ourselves in ways we never thought possible.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive, but I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways.
The most important thing is this. AI image generation is not just a futuristic idea.
Mhm.
It's here now, it's evolving rapidly, and it's already changing art and design.
And while there are valid concerns, there's also a huge amount of potential for good. It's a tool that can help us be more creative, innovative, and explore new ways to express ourselves artistically.
So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay creative. The future of AI art is in our hands, and it's up to us to shape it in a way that benefits both us and the art world.
That's a great way to put it. I hope you enjoyed this first part of our deep dive. We'll be back soon with part 2 to explore even more of this fascinating and rapidly changing field.
Until then, keep those creative juices flowing. Remember, the only limit is your imagination. We're back, ready to go even deeper into this world of AI image generation.
You know, it's amazing to think about how this technology might, change how we make art and how we experience it, you know?
I know, right? It's like AI is giving us all these new tools to be creative, but it also makes you wonder, where does the line between real and fake even exist anymore? If you can make anything you can imagine with a few clicks, what does that mean for the role of, the human artist? That's the really interesting part. Some folks think AI is going to completely replace artists, but I see it more as like a partnership. Think of it like photography.
Yeah.
It didn't kill painting, right?
Yeah.
It just gave artists another way to create. I think AI will be similar, pushing the limits and aspiring totally new kinds of art.
I like that analogy. It's not about replacement, it's about possibilities. But it does bring up some tricky questions about who owns what. If you use AI to make a piece of art, who owns the copyright? Is it you, the person who made the prompt, or the AI company, or even the artists whose work was used to train the AI?
That's a really tough one. It's a legal and ethical gray area that everyone's still trying to figure out. There's no easy answer, and it's something lawmakers in the whole art world are wrestling with as AI art becomes more and more common.
It's definitely complicated, and it goes beyond just art, too. This technology could change so many creative industries, like graphic design, advertising, even movies and video games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Think about it being able to instantly create a photorealistic image for a magazine cover or a lifelike 3D model for a video game character, the time it would save. We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible.
It's exciting and kind of scary at the same time. We have this incredible power to create anything, but you have to think about the potential for people to use it for bad stuff, too. What if someone uses AI to make deepfakes or spread fake news? How do we make sure this power is used responsibly?
You hit the nail on the head. That's a huge question we need to be talking about right now. With any new tech, there are risks, and we need to address them head on. We need guidelines for how to use it ethically, education about the dangers, and research to help reduce those risks.
It's almost like we need a digital code of ethics, you
Yeah.
know, a set of rules for creating and using information in this age of AI.
I think you're right on.
Yeah.
We need to start thinking about the big picture, about how this tech affects society as a whole, and how we can make sure it benefits everyone.
So we've talked about AI's impact on art, the legal and ethical stuff, and the need for responsible development. But, let's not forget the fun part. What are some of the coolest things you've seen with AI image generation? What gets you excited about the future of this tech?
Well, I'm really interested in how AI can personalize experiences. Imagine being able to make custom artwork for your house or design your own video game characters that look and act like you. That would be so cool.
That's amazing. It's like AI is giving us the power to create our own little worlds, to express ourselves in ways we never could before.
And it goes beyond self-expression, too. Think about how AI could change education. Interactive textbooks with AI-generated pictures that come to life, virtual field trips to historical places in 3D, personalized learning that adapts to how you learn best.
That would be incredible. It's like opening up a whole new world of learning and experiencing things.
And of course, we can't forget about entertainment. Imagine video games where the story and characters change based on what you do. Movies with special effects that are basically real, and totally immersive virtual reality experiences that transport you to other worlds.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. It sounds like we're entering a whole new era where the lines between art, entertainment, and reality are blurring. But with all this excitement, we have to remember that AI is a tool. It can be used for good or bad.
You're absolutely right. The real power of AI is that it can boost our creativity and help us solve problems. But it's our job to make sure it's used in a way that helps everyone. We need to be aware of the potential risks while also being excited about the benefit.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
We need to talk openly about these things, involve everyone, politicians, artists, developers, everyone, to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly and ethically.
And we need to teach people how to think critically, especially about what they see online, so they can tell what's real and what's fake and make smart choices about the information they're taking in.
100%. It's about giving people the knowledge and skills to navigate this increasingly complex digital world.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot in the second part of our deep dive. We've talked about how AI might impact art and creativity, the legal and ethical challenges, all the cool ways it can be used, and even some big philosophical questions. But I think the biggest takeaway is this. AI is basically a mirror of ourselves. We
Yeah.
created it, and we get to decide how it's used.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The future of AI is in our hands, and it's up to us to make sure it's a future that benefits all of humanity.
You know, you bring up a good point. Have you had any personal experiences using these AI art platforms? Any funny stories or like unexpected discoveries?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. Just the other day, I was messing around with DLE, and I decided to give it this prompt. A dog wearing a tuxedo, riding a unicycle on the moon. I was expecting something totally crazy, but it actually made this really beautiful image. The lighting was perfect, the composition was great, and the dog's face was just like dignified and hilarious at the same time. It was like something out of a dream, and it really showed me just how artistic these AI tools can be.
I love that. It's those unexpected creative moments that make this technology so interesting. It's like AI is helping us to see the world in a whole new way.
Absolutely. That's what keeps this whole journey so exciting. We're always discovering new things, pushing boundaries, and even learning more about ourselves in the process.
So to wrap up the second part of our deep dive, we've talked about the potential impacts on art and creativity, the legal and ethical issues, all the cool applications out there, and even had a little fun with personal stories. But we've only just scratched the surface of what AI image generation can do.
There's so much more to learn and explore. As we move into the final part of our conversation, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this question. As these AI-generated images become even more common and part of our lives, how do you think they will change how we see reality itself? Will we get used to seeing things that aren't real? Will we need new ways to tell what's true and what's not? It's almost like we're entering this world where seeing doesn't necessarily mean believing.
That's a deep question and one that doesn't have an easy answer. But I do think it's something we need to be talking about. We need to be aware that AI could be used to mislead us and create fake realities. We also need to develop those critical thinking skills and understand how the media works so we can navigate this increasingly complex digital world.
You're absolutely right. It's about being informed and having the tools to tell truth from falsehood, especially in the online world.
Okay, so we've gotten into some deep philosophical waters here, but it's important to remember that AI is ultimately a reflection of us. It's something we created, and we get to decide how to use it.
I love that. As we wrap up our exploration of AI image generation, let's remember that we have the power to shape how this technology impacts our world. Let's use it to fuel creativity, innovation, and understanding, and work together to build a future where AI helps us and inspires us to dream bigger.
Well said. We've covered a lot in this second part of our deep dive into AI image generation. It's been an amazing journey. We'll be back soon with the last part of our discussion where we'll wrap everything up and explore even more of this awesome, rapidly changing field.
Until then, stay curious, keep creating, and remember, the future of AI is up to all of us.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into AI image generation. This has been like a truly fascinating journey.
It really has. We've covered so much, from the technical details of those GANs and transformers to the creative potential of platforms like DLE and Midjourney. It's been awesome.
And we even got into some really deep questions about the future of art, what creativity really means, and even the nature of reality itself.
It's crazy to think about how quickly this field is changing. Like almost every day, there's some new breakthrough or mind-blowing application of AI image generation that I hadn't even thought of.
I know, right? It seems like just yesterday we were talking about AI creating images from text prompts, and it felt like, something straight out of science fiction. But now it's becoming almost normal.
Exactly. And as these tools get even more powerful and easier to use, I think we're going to see a massive explosion of creativity in all kinds of areas. I mean, just imagine architects using AI to design buildings, fashion designers creating virtual clothing lines, or even doctors using AI to visualize complex medical data.
The possibilities are endless. But like we've talked about before, with any powerful technology, there are potential downsides. We can't forget about the impact on human artists, those legal and ethical challenges, and the importance of responsible development.
Yeah, we have to remember that AI is just a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's on us to make sure we're using it to benefit humanity and make our lives better.
Definitely agree. We need to be aware of those risks, but we also shouldn't be afraid to embrace the amazing opportunities AI offers. It's a tricky balance, but I'm hopeful that we can figure out how to use this power for good.
And I think the key to doing that is to have open and honest conversations about these issues. We need to involve everyone, politicians, artists, developers, the public, everyone, to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. And we need to encourage people to think critically and be media savvy so they can spot the difference between real and fake images and make informed decisions about the information they come across.
Right. It's about empowering people to be smart and safe in this increasingly digital world.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into AI image generation, I think the most important takeaway is this. AI is a reflection of ourselves. We created it, and ultimately we decide how it's used.
Couldn't said it better myself. The future of AI is literally in our hands, and it's our responsibility to shape it in a way that benefits everyone.
So before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Don't be afraid to play around with these AI tools, to explore your own creativity, and to imagine new possibilities. The world of AI art is out there waiting to be explored. Who knows? You might create something truly amazing.
And remember, the only limit is your imagination.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of AI image generation. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of knowledge and discovery.